What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Credit Plug channel. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be dropping some serious funding gems. So stay tuned for the entirety of this video because we're going to be going over some game-changing funding resources. Just to start off, I wanted to go over this post that I came across a couple months ago. This is one of the founders of LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional network. You can use it for getting jobs. I've gotten several jobs in the past. I think I've been on LinkedIn for at least 12 years, maybe even longer. The founder of LinkedIn says, or their prediction based off of what's going on with AI is that by 2034, there's not going to be any jobs. What I could say just from speaking with people, former colleagues, and even looking at my LinkedIn timeline, I used to work in federal government contracting, and some of the federal government clients I used to work for, like the Department of Education, USAID, they're getting massive cuts. So a lot of these cushy management consulting jobs, federal government contracting jobs, whether that's with Deloitte, Accenture, a lot of these federal government agencies, they're cutting back. So a lot of those jobs that relied on federal government contracting is not so steady. The path that they push on a lot of people coming out of college, just go get this government job, this contracting job, and you're going to be set. People are getting laid off. So what is the solution? The solution is having your own business. And we're seeing a lot of this right now with starting a business, buying a business, starting a franchise, that you need funding. So that's why in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys resources. These are going to be crucial resources going forward for you to be able to secure your financial future. Because again, a lot of jobs are going away. So people need to provide for themselves. And one of the best ways is through entrepreneurship. So I'm going to be giving you guys the resources where you can actually get funding. This is just an overall resource. Opportunity Finance Network has what's called, for those who don't know what a CDFI is, a community development financial institution. This is a nonprofit lender. It's going to be much easier to get funding from CDFIs if you're starting out versus going to the big banks. Big banks cater to big business, but CDFIs are more local. So with this tool right here, you can search for your state. For example, I'm in Maryland, so I'm just going to use this as an example. I can filter this, and this is going to give me a list of all the CDFIs in my coverage area. You can pull it up for your state, your city, whatever, and it's going to tell you a list of CDFIs. You can click on these different CDFIs and they'll give you information on how you can go about getting access to some of their loan programs, different funding programs for startups and so forth. Now, in today's video, I wanted to go over businesses or potential entrepreneurs in the Maryland, DC metro area. So if you're in Montgomery County, PG County, Howard County, Baltimore, Frederick, Virginia, DC, I'm going to be giving you some game-changing resources where you can go out and get this money. The first couple of institutions I wanted to cover: Latino Economic Development Corp., FSC First, Howard County Economic Development Corp., and Washington Area Community Investment Fund. So the first one I wanted to go over, FSC First. All right. How do I know about FSC First? I actually used to work at FSC First. This is an extension of the Prince George's County Economic Development Corporation, which is a county economic development corporation. FSC First is basically their lending arm. So they have several different programs, about 12 different funding programs. I'm not going to go over all of these. Of course, they have the SBA 504, they have 7A and things like that. But I want to go over some of these specific regional loan programs. So right here, we have the Small Business Thrive Fund, which goes up to $350,000. Minimum of $25,000 up to $350,000 with a maximum of $100,000 for startups, which is unheard of. So basically, the Small Business Thrive Fund is available to established businesses with at least 3 to 5 years of profitable operating history. So essentially, in order to qualify, there will be personal guarantees. It says 10% cash down payment required for existing firms and 20% cash required for startups. This is going to be for Prince George's County-based businesses only. For startups, a maximum of $100,000. If you have a project that's $100,000, you would just have to put 20% down. But if you're an existing business, you can go up to much higher amounts with only 10% down, up to $350,000. This is just for established businesses, but they have a bunch of different other programs. The city of Bowie has their own revolving loan fund. So City of Bowie Loan Fund, This goes up to $50,000. This is for businesses located in Bowie, a suburb of Prince George's County. For those who don't know, PG County is one of the wealthiest majority Black counties in the entire United States. So this specific loan program goes up to $50,000 with terms out to 10 years. And this is going to be for Bowie-based businesses only. All right. So again, some of these programs are very specific to the region. And don't worry, I'm going to cover all throughout Montgomery County, Baltimore. We're going to get into it. They have a couple other programs. This is the Economic Development Incentive Fund. These loans go up to $250,000. With this program, they're looking to attract like large businesses that are going to come and bring hundreds of jobs. So unless you're like a big corporation, this one is not within reach. Let's say you have a tech company with 200 employees and you want to relocate to Prince George's County. Basically what they're doing is they're looking at the project's significant economic impact measured by the outcomes such as job creation, retention, and increasing the commercial tax base, industry, and commerce, as well as promoting local and minority small business development. This is for businesses that will relocate and help with increasing the tax base, as well as creating high-paying jobs for the community. This one is really if you're an established corporation and you're going to have a big impact by relocating. They have a green energy loan program. The ones that I'm really excited about are the VLT Small Business Flex Fund. We're going to get into that, but I've done several videos already. Maryland established casinos throughout the state. So you have Maryland Live, you have Horseshoe, you have MGM. So all of the casinos take a percentage of the revenue from the slot machines and they put that into a revolving loan fund. The revolving loan fund basically is a pot of money that gets recycled, and essentially it's designed to lend out to businesses in targeted areas surrounding the Maryland casinos. If you're in Anne Arundel County, where Maryland Live is, MGM, where PG is, Horseshoe, which is going to be in Baltimore. If your business address is within a 5 to 10 mile radius of one of those casinos, is considered a targeted area. So essentially what happens is they provide loans from $25,000 up to $250,000, loans and lines of credit. And this is going to be very competitive rates. I want to give you a little bit more information. I already did a whole video about this, but basically y'all see right here, depending on which county you're in, there's going to be a different fund manager. Basically, so this is state money. The state collects the revenue from the slot machines. They put it into a revolving loan fund. And then as far as distributing that to businesses is going to be distributed by each county, right? So in PG County, you have FSC First, which is the fund manager. If your business is in PG, you would go through FSC First, which I just showed you. Anne Arundel County is the Anne Arundel Economic Development Corporation. Meridian Management Group is for Baltimore City. You also have the Baltimore County Economic Development Boost Fund, Howard County Economic Development Authority, and the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. Depending on where your business is located, these are the corresponding fund managers you would go through to get one of these VLT small business loans. So this is a report that the Maryland Department of Commerce publishes every year, and it gives information on how things are being dispersed and how much money is allocated. Now, here's where there's a ton of upside. It says revenues into the account were $21,700,000 casino funds with disbursements to fund managers of $12,900,000. You can see the starting fiscal year 2024 balance of $53,454,000. These figures exclude sports wagering funds. So aside from the video lottery terminals they're putting money in, now sports betting has been legalized in Maryland. They're now going to be contributing a portion of the sports wagers, right? So that's even more money going into these funds. The revolving loan fund grows every year because you have new money coming in from the percentage collected from slot machines and now sports wagering, as well as when businesses are repaying the loans, part of the interest goes to in costs and fund management costs, but then the principal and a portion of the profits go back into the loan fund. So the loan fund continues to grow and grow. Now, right here, this tells you the breakdown of how the money is getting divvied up based off of different fund managers. And this just gives an overall sense, as well as they have figures about the current fiscal year. They have just all information about this, who's getting what, how it's being divvied up. And all of this is public. More than 50% of the funds were deployed to targeted areas as required by statutes. Since inception, 130 million were deployed to small, minority, and women-owned businesses. So 43 million to minority-owned businesses, 47 million to women-owned, 6 million to veteran, and 33 million to non-minority businesses. I wanted to show you an example of what loan amounts businesses are getting approved for, just so you have an idea. And all of this is public. So if you go through one of these programs and you're able to get funding, this will actually be public information, like how much funding. These are actual businesses that got funded. They have information such as the business name, the county, the fund manager, whether it's a minority, women-owned, and how much funding they got approved for. So as y'all can see, some of these businesses of 50,000, 100,000, they're really giving out a bag. This business right here got $500,000. Some of these businesses are relatively small, right? This business right here, they got 50,000 with just one employee. Obviously, the bigger the company is, you can get higher dollar amounts. But when you look at this, these businesses are getting a lot of money, 250,000, 300,000, 350,000, 310,000, 160. Look at the amounts they're getting approved for, $400,000 with 10 employees. They're really getting the bag. And think about how impactful these funds are going to be for growing these businesses. The crazy thing about a program like this is that a lot of people don't even know that this exists. So that's why I'm sharing this information. And this is just one specific program, the Video Lottery Terminal program. This one right here is a game changer. These businesses are really getting a lot of money, 500,000 to this business. I mean, y'all see the numbers right here. Y'all get an understanding of the funding that's out there. And the great thing about this is that you don't need to have the highest credit score. All right. So they're really designed to empower businesses, minority businesses, women-owned businesses. All right. So all this information is public. You can go online and check this out. Going back to FSC first, that's just one program. They're not the only one who administers this. This is just for Prince George's County, but each county fund manager is going to have their VLT that they're administrating on behalf of the state of Maryland. It's a pot of money at the state level, then it trickles down to each county, and the county decides who gets approved for certain loans. They have an EDI Fund Contractors Advantage program, CAP program. I'm probably going to do a separate video on this because this is for contractors, right? So if you need funding, lines of credit, working capital for equipment, and project-based financing, this one is a game changer. They have a healthcare fund and a couple other technical programs. All right, so that's FSC first. The next one I wanted to go over, this is the Latino Economic Development Center. For those in Frederick County, Maryland, they have what's called the Empower Loan Program. The mission of the Frederick County Economic Development Corporation is to create an environment of economic inclusion that supports all business owners, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender. They partner with the Latino Economic Development Center to offer the Empower Loan. This provides fixed interest rate loans up to $10,000 to empower mentorship graduates in good standing. So essentially, there's this Empower Mentorship program. And once you go through the program, you'll get a $10,000 fixed interest loan. They teach you some of the basic fundamentals as far as entrepreneurship. But essentially, all you really need is a completed application, government issue ID, a voided check, and an intake form. All right, so there's no minimum credit score. All clients must be current in all accounts on their credit report, excluding medical payments and traffic tickets. So even if you have a low credit score, you can still get qualified for this. And this is for Frederick County. All right. But aside from that, the Latino Economic Development Corporation offers a handful of different programs. And actually, they are the fund manager for the VLT program for Montgomery County, which I'll go over in just a second. They have programs up to 250,000, from a minimum of 1,000 up to 250,000. They have 3 different types of programs: the growth loan, the startup loan, and the seed loan. Now, right down here is a matrix that shows the eligibility. All right, so startup companies can get up to 20K with the startup loan or the seed loan. Established companies can get up to 250,000. This tells you the paperwork needed. All right, so if you're a startup, all you basically need is some bank statements. If you're a startup up to 20,000, you're going to need the last 2 of your personal taxes and bank statements. If you're an established business, you're going to need 2 years of personal and business, basically the standard requirements for a lot of these types of loans. The ACE loan program, this is for Montgomery County. So Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. With Montgomery County, since there's no casino, businesses in Montgomery County are not in the targeted area. So they get a smaller allocation of the VLT. That's why it's actually more beneficial to be near a casino to take advantage of the VLT. In PG, you got, what casinos in PG? Oh, MGM Grand, you got in Anne Arundel, you got Maryland Live, and in Baltimore, you have the Horseshoe. Businesses in that radius are targeted, but they still got it from Montgomery County. This is a video. I'll drop a link in the description, but this explains the process. There's no minimum credit score. There's no restrictions as far as businesses, unless you're doing anything illegal like gambling. Otherwise, it's available to most people. The Latino Economic Development Center is the manager for the VLT on behalf of the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. From my understanding, Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation really focus on large corporations, biotech, the big corporations, trying to attract those to come into the county to create jobs. Like the VLT is mostly for small business. They really focus on big business, bringing big business to the county. So that's basically it for Latino Economic Development Corporation. I also wanted to share with you guys Howard County Economic Development Corporation. Howard County is another smaller county in the DMV, really good school systems and everything. And they actually have a really good funding option I'm gonna share with y'all. They have a flex line of credit where you actually get a revolving line of credit up to $100,000. This right here is an absolute game changer. An actual county economic development corporation, small businesses, up to $100,000 revolving line of credit. So from 30,000 up to 100,000. This is not coming from a bank. This is coming from a county economic development corp. The way you apply, you submit an interest form, and only qualified candidates will be invited to submit a full application. There's a $100 application fee. For Howard County, Maryland businesses, they have the flex line up to 100K. They also have another micro loan, the micro loan fund for businesses in Howard County. This is going to be a little lower criteria. So from 10,000 up to 30,000 with terms from 3 years to 5 years. This could be for working capital, inventory purchases. Qualifications must be located in Howard County, must be operational for 1 year, and preferably a credit score that is 600 and above. All individuals with 20% more have to provide a personal guarantee and no bankruptcies within the last 7 years. All right, so this is going to be for Howard County, and you could reach out. This is the director of the Howard County Economic Development Corp. And so you could reach out directly. You could submit a form. I'll drop all links in the description of the video. They also have some other funding programs as well. You could check out SBA loans. They have a Catalyst loan fund, another revolving loan fund. As I mentioned, the flex line of credit. They also have some tax credits, depending on if you have a commercial or industrial property along Route 1. So that's another thing to consider. And there's also grants for minorities. As y'all can see right here, you got the Black Founder Startup Grant, the Black Restaurant Accelerator Program, and another fellowship program. So there's a ton of great resources right here as far as loans, grants. So definitely take advantage of that. Now, the last one I wanted to go over was the Washington Area Community Investment Fund, DC and Virginia. They have term loans up to $250,000 with terms out to 72 months. No minimum credit score, as it says right here. They will do a UCC, so there's a security interest in all business assets and personal guarantee for all owners. All right. So if you're in DC, Maryland, Virginia, you could definitely take advantage of this. And their process is going to be very similar to what you might find at a bank, but you don't have to have the highest income or the highest credit score. Let's go over the specific requirements. Businesses must be located in DC, Maryland, Montgomery County, and Prince George's County. And then in Virginia, Arlington County, Alexandria, Fairfax County, and the city of Fairfax. Must have filed federal income taxes for the most recent filing deadline or have filed an extension. Now, this is important as well. So if you apply for this, you haven't filed 2024. If you did an extension, they'll take 2023 and 2022. Must have a business bank account and business revenue at or above 50,000. They provide a list of everything you would need. You're going to need some type of business financials. They have all the docs that you need, articles, operating agreement. If you have any of these minority certifications or designations, you can also provide that. Resumes of the owners and management team, business projections, and any other certifications you might have for your business. All right, so this is the Washington Area Community Investment Fund. So this one right here is an absolute game changer. I know this video might not be relevant to everyone who's watching it, but I just wanted to share some of these resources because we're going to see a lot more people diving into entrepreneurship, whether that's starting a business, franchising a business, or even securing an existing business, buying an existing business. You're going to need some type of funding. I've seen a lot of people transitioning from their 9-to-5 or corporate career into small business ownership. This might not just be an option going forward. This might be a necessity in the future, because as we said, the founder of LinkedIn is saying by 2034, most of these jobs are going to be eliminated. So business ownership is definitely going to be one of the best paths moving forward. If you start right now, you could position yourself to have financial freedom, financial success in the future. But in order to get there, you have to understand the funding game. So if anyone wants me to break down these CDFIs where you can get the money from the banks or local institutions, let me know. So you can join our Patreon. Anyone who signs up for our private tier membership, once you join, just send me a message, what state you want me to cover. I will gather the data points for you so that you know where to go to get the funding. Of course, you can do a lot of this yourself, but I love going through this information, finding these resources for you. Join the Patreon private tier. Shoot me a message, say, hey, I'm in New Orleans. Can you cover New Orleans or Louisiana? Or I'm in Michigan. Where can I get the bag at from there? I'll do videos for each of these. If you join the Patreon private tier, sometimes this takes me hours to do the research, calling them up, gathering the data points, getting the information. I will do a customized video for each state if you request it. This one right here is from Maryland. So for those in the DMV area, definitely check out some of these. Just to recap, the ones we went over: Latino Economic Development Corp, FSC First, Howard County Economic Development Corp, Washington Area Community Investment Fund. And there's a ton more. This is barely scratching the surface, but I wanted to lay these out for my people in the DC metro area, DC, Maryland, Virginia. There's a ton of great resources out there for you. So take advantage. That's all for today's video. Until next time, take it easy and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.